I'm going to start this video by talking about how you start an engine. Now, for some of you with experience, this is sort of redundant, but for others, perhaps it'll be helpful to you. I'll also apologize for saying that this is not edited, nor was it scripted, and I hope that the sound quality is good enough and you'll forgive me for all the fumbling. This is the basic setup. You can see that it's in a test stand mount. You can see that the pipe is mounted with a wooden holder, and a little bit later I'll try to get you a better picture of this. Any of my engines, when they're new, are particularly tight. If you can hear the squeaking, you can tell that they're very tight. Now, you're going to need a good starter. This particular starter is the smaller Hanger 9, which you can get from Horizon. This is the box that it comes in, and the part number is HAN 161. Mounted on the side of the starter is a 1000 milliamp 4-cell LiPo. Gives you about, 14 to 16 volts, a little bit more than the 12 volt starter, but you're going to need it. So when you're starting an engine, you automatically rotate the prop backwards. And if you put it on like this and pull the trigger, sometimes it won't turn over. In this particular case it did. But if it doesn't turn over, you rotate the prop backwards and spin up the starter and put it on. Like that. The next thing that's going to happen is that you need to have a good glow driver. This happens to be a McDaniel's. It's called a nice starter, and this particular one doesn't have the meter. Some of the others, for example, like this one, has a meter that tells you if the plug is good or not. I like this one because it goes on and stays on and then gives you the meter, like so. I'm going to put on ear protection. You should always have ear protection. When you're starting one of these, there's two ways to prime. One is that you prime with your finger, which is definitely not recommended. The other way to prime, and by far the easiest way, is to hold your finger over the end of the pipe. This generates pressure through the pressure line into the tank and causes fuel to flow back into the engine. Typically, you start at part throttle. I've got it open now about a third of the way. And if you want to prime before you start, you can blow on the pressure line and watch the fuel go in just a little bit. Now I'm going to hook this up, put fire to the glow plug, and start the engine. Okay, I made a mistake. The fuel was pinched off. What you observed was me putting my finger on the end of the muffler, putting fire here, putting the starter on, and watching the fuel go into the carburetor. When the fuel gets to the carburetor, you have to take your finger off the end of the muffler. If you keep it on the end of the muffler, it will not fire. So you're looking for fuel flowing into the carburetor, then take your finger off, it starts right away.